Bob the Canadian here. Just want to welcome you to this Saturday evening conversation. As you know, I'm Bob the Canadian. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my day. It looks like I have lots of people here already. Ichel says hello. Lingard says hello. Sonara says hello. Victor, Lolly, Camran, Khan. You guys are all here already, which is very, very awesome. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and just hanging out with me on a Saturday night. It's kind of fun just to get out of the house, sit in my yard. I set up my phone and do a live stream and just kind of have a small conversation with you. So if this is your first time here, here's how this goes. If you ask questions in the chat, they can be questions about me. They can be questions about learning English. I will read your question out loud. I will often correct your English as I read it, and then I will answer it. So this is meant to be a little bit like a conversation. I'm just going to say hi to a few more people. Hello, Abdallah. Hello, Fabio. Welcome to the live stream. So it's Saturday night here in Ontario, Canada. As you can see, I have my winter coat on again. I have my winter hat with me if it gets cold. Hello, Coney. How are you? And I even brought my gloves with, so I might need to put those on in a little bit. I have my glass of water so that I can talk for a long time if I need to. Hello, Ooh, you made it to the live stream. That's awesome. And Coney Fram says, good morning from Thailand. So anyways, it was a nice day today. I got up this morning. A couple of my kids had to go and do things for clubs they were in. So I brought them to the local town for that, and then I picked them up later. I had a nap later in the day, and now I'm here doing the live stream. Just want to say hello to Rasim, to Clive, and then Lolly wants to know what's the topic. So Lolly, on Saturday nights, I know for some of you it's Sunday morning already. The live stream is meant to just be a conversation. So there's no actual topic. It's just a time where you can just hang out at my place via the live stream, and you can ask me some questions. You can ask me how to pronounce certain words. So I like to interact with people in the chat. It's not a real English conversation, but it's a little bit like an English conversation. So Lolly says, what's the topic? The topic, Lolly, is anything you want. I just want to say hi to O Junior. Big hi to Yasan Rahman from Kurdistan. Thanks for staying up so late, Yasan. Hello to Wida, and hello to Maria. And Maria says, hello, Bob. It's great to see you on Saturday night. It's great to see all of you as well. So again, if you have questions, ask them. I'm happy to answer them. Usually though, if there are no questions, hi, Kate. Nice to see you again, Kate. If there are no questions, I usually just talk about myself, which is a little bit boring sometimes. So anyways, I had a nice day. I went to town twice. I tried not to eat too much today because I'm trying to make sure I don't put on too much weight. And Abdallah has the first question. Do you often do live streams? And then Vamos Tienvito says, Bob, how often do you do these live? So here's the plan. I do a live lesson on Friday mornings at 1300 GMT. And that lesson you can watch if you go to my channel. Yesterday I did a lesson about money. So that's a kind of a structured lesson. I come in with a topic. And then I look at what that topic is. Hi, Zaza. And then I do this live stream. For me right now, it's Saturday night. I won't do this every week. I think I've done it for 3 or 4 weeks now. But this live stream is meant to be, in English, what we would call a little more casual. So it's just you and me hanging out, having a conversation. So 2 times a week, for sure 1 time a week. Which would be on the Thursday. Tiago says hi from Brazil. Zaza says hello, Bob. Nice to see you again. You too, Zaza. Uu says good morning. I'm glad to see your live stream and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Uu. I will try for what's left of the day. I will try to have a wonderful day. So start out or start have the same meaning? So Victor's asking about the term start out. So when I start out doing something, it means that I'm at the beginning of something. The second part, start have, we don't usually say start have, but I could say that I have started. So I could say I have started to do live streams on Saturday night. So a few weeks ago, I started out doing live streams on Saturday nights. And now I can say to people, oh, I have started doing live streams. I hope that makes sense, Victor. Kind of a little bit of the difference there. Lolly says, I wonder if idioms are the same in British English and American English. So, Lolly, the English you'll hear from me and the idioms you'll hear from me are definitely more American than they are British, even though Canada a long time ago was a British colony. I think because we see a lot of American television and we see a lot of American movies. Canadian speakers, Canadian English is a lot more American. So the idioms I use are usually quite American. So if I say things like, who let the cat out of the bag? Here, kitty. There's a cat right here, by the way, but it's running away now. We won't be able to see it. That is definitely more American than it is British. So they are different. Tiago says how to pronounce the following words: two, and two. They're all pronounced the same way. So two with just one O is pronounced two. And when we say two with two O's, it's pronounced two. And when we say the number two, Abdallah says, that's all I needed. I feel like I'm talking to a native English speaker face to face. Yeah, Abdallah, in a small way, you are. You just communicated to me. I know you're typing it in or you're putting it into your phone. But this is just a way for you and me and a few other people to have a little bit of a conversation. Gung Lao says, the grass turns back to green finally. Yeah, over the last few weeks, Gung, the grass has definitely been greening up. But the tree behind me, the tree still has no leaves. So we're still waiting a little bit for the tree to get some leaves on it. So the grass is definitely green, but the trees still don't have leaves on them. That will come though. Slowly but surely that will come. Lolly says, thanks, no problem. Weta says, okay, Bob, so I have been learning English for 6 months, so I cannot really have a good conversation. What is your advice to me? So Weta, it's really just time and practice. They say that the only way to learn a language is to speak it really badly. Because if you aren't brave, if you don't have the courage to speak the language, you'll never learn it. So in terms of finding someone to speak English with, that's a little more difficult. I often recommend that people go to a website called Preply. There's a link down in the description actually. And Preply is a website where you can pay someone to have an English conversation with you via FaceTime or Skype. So for the first part, your conversations will get better the more conversations you have. It's like anything. The brain is an amazing thing. The more you do it, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And then the second, there's no way around it. That's a phrase that means you really have no choice. At a certain point, you can read for free, you can write in English for free, you can watch YouTube videos for free, but at a certain point you probably will need to pay someone to be able to have a real English conversation with them. So again, there's a link in the description below to a website called Preply. There's also one called italki, and italki is another website where you can pay someone. So Weta, I hope that answers your question. Clive asks, hi Jen. Jen said she will be in the live stream in a couple weeks, but not today because she's still working right now. She's doing flower farm work. Clive, will you do a live stream about sports? Oh, Clive, I don't watch sports, but I will someday do a lesson or a live stream about sports. In fact, that should be the topic next Friday, shouldn't it? I should do the live stream lesson. That's what we'll do. You have a deal, Clive? Next Friday, the live stream topic will be sports. And you like watching Major League Baseball. Amin, hello Amin, welcome to the live stream. She says it's a good opportunity to practice English. Excellent. Think Positive is here. Hello Think Positive, how are you today? Is it cold there because you're wearing your jacket? Yeah, so Think, maybe you weren't here at the beginning. I got my winter hat. I have my winter gloves and I have my coat on. It's not super cold, but the temperature is dropping right now and I want to stay out here for at least half an hour or 45 minutes. So I thought I better bring some warmer clothes with. So I got my sweater on again too. It's spring, it gets warm and it gets cold. Work and walk, says Ooh. These two words pronounced the same? No. So every day I go to work. So Ooh asks about work and walk. Every day I go to work and every day I go for a walk. So they're very different. So work is like if I'm working, maybe my job is to dig. So work, and then when you go out to the park, maybe you go for a walk. A little bit of a challenge, I think, for new English speakers. Wida says, thanks a lot, Bob. No problem. Abdallah says, I think my English is much lower than yours. However, I wouldn't say I don't know how to speak English despite the lack of vocabulary. So Abdallah is talking to Wida there. So that's great. You guys are talking in the chat. That's awesome. Zaza says, some people say that English is an easy language to learn. Would you agree on that notion? I wouldn't. So here's one thing that makes English a little bit easier than other languages is there is a lot of information in the world that is in English. So if you are a construction worker, you can find English books. If you are someone who likes movies, you can find a lot of English movies. So in some way, the amount of books and movies and television shows that are available in English can make it easier to learn. And the fact that the world of business, for the most part, most of the world conducts business in either English or Chinese, maybe French or Spanish. The amount of you're motivated more to learn English. But would I say English is easy as a language? No. There are far too many things in English that are confusing. I like to apologize, Zaza. This was Zaza Astiani's question. I like to say I'm sorry a lot for the English language because it's hard. When I'm trying to teach the English language to people, sometimes there's two words that are spelled differently and they're pronounced the same. Sometimes they're pronounced differently and they're spelled the same. It's very confusing. Just watch a lot of TV. Roberto says hello from Taiwan. Lawyer Amar says, how old are you? I don't know if I'm getting behind in the comments. Let me scroll down. Oh yeah, I'm getting a little bit behind. I'm in my late 40s. That's usually, oh, did I just flip the camera around? Yeah, you guys don't see me anymore, do you? There I am, okay. Let's see. How old are you? Late 40s. I'm almost 50 actually. Do you make live lessons, grammar sometimes? Lolly, I don't do a lot of grammar, but I will in the future. Ooh says thanks. Would you mind explaining the difference between get back, come back, go back? So if I am here and my dog comes over, but I want my dog to go back to the house, I can say go back or I can say get back. And both of those things would mean I want my dog to go back to the house. Come back would mean I want him to come this way though. Let's see, how do you pronounce jewels? So Hamira asks, how do you pronounce jewels? It's jewels. That's the best I can give you. Beer says hi. Yasan says Canada looks just like Kurdistan. Yeah, we must be at the same latitude. So jewels, I did. The nature behind you is beautiful. There's no one walking. Do you live in the countryside? Yes, Amin. I definitely live in the countryside. Could you please explain? You didn't answer my questions. What part of Canada are you in? I'm in Ontario. I think I'm caught up now. Oh, I keep flipping the camera by accident. Think Positive says, "Hi, Bob. I'm good, thank you. Have a wonderful time in English. To me, British talking is difficult to understand because of the accent." So the British accent is a bit of a challenge for some people. I can't really talk British. Don't tell anyone I tried that. I like watching British TV, and sometimes even for me, there are phrases that are a challenge or difficult to answer. I just want to go back. Yasan said I didn't answer his question. Yasan, can you post your question again? Just because I think I might have missed it. So sorry I keep flipping the camera, everybody. You get to see the sunset once in a while when I flip the camera to look the other way. So Yasan, if I wasn't answering your question, just post it again and I'll be sure to answer it. So thanks a lot, says Hamira. You are amazing. Well, I don't know if I'm amazing, but I try my best. That's what I tell people. If we all just try our best, I think the world will be a better place. So I think I'm caught up on all the questions from chat, so I'm not sure what I should talk about next. Sometimes even Bob the Canadian runs out of things to talk about. When you run out of things to talk about, it means that in your mind you had a list of things that you wanted to talk about, and sometimes you don't know what to talk about next. Juan Carlos, he says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob, good to see you." Good to see you too, Juan. Uu says, "The nature behind you is beautiful. Thank you." Kate says, "The sky is beautiful." And Elnaz says, "Which city do you live in?" So you can kind of tell, Elnaz, that I don't really live in the city. I live in the country. The city that is closest to me is a city called Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So, and I do live quite a ways away from it. I do literally live, as I tell people, in the middle of nowhere. My nearest neighbor that way is 1 kilometer away, and my nearest neighbor that way is half a kilometer away. But there is one person that lives across the road from me. So Vamos says, "Bob, can you explain the difference between going and coming? I had a misunderstanding and I'm still don't know when I should use each." Going means going home. So just picture it this way. Wherever you are, if you leave where you are going somewhere. So if I was to get up from the picnic table, I would be going to the house. But if I was in the house and I was going towards the picnic table and my wife was here, she would say that I am coming towards her. So picture it this way. Going is when it's like you're heading that way, and coming is when you're heading this way. Hopefully that made some sense. I think I may have explained it too fast. Why does it keep flipping? I don't know. Sanira says, "Do you grow corn?" Sanira, I might be growing corn this year. I'm not sure. Amin says, "You have a very clear accent. I understand every word you say. Does that mean I have an advanced level in English?" Well, Amin, it means that you're doing pretty good. I do let my students know that I do speak relatively slowly. And I think because I'm a teacher in real life, my day job is a teacher, I think I'm used to explaining things as clearly as I can. I try not to use contractions. So instead of saying don't, I usually say do not. So it means your English is good. But if you were to run into, say, my brother, he would probably speak a lot faster than me. And he would probably be a little harder to understand. Elnaz says, "I live in Toronto. You are amazing." Thanks, Elnaz. I was in Toronto last November. Maybe next time I'm in Toronto, there should be a meetup. Juan Carlos says, thank you for your time. You know, Juan, by the time you're my age, I a Saturday night is a nice night just to sit around and talk to people. I don't often go out on the weekends. I just like being at home. I live in a nice place. And so my days of being young and wild are over. So a lot of times I'm just home on a Saturday night. Lolly says, I can understand you very well, but when I watch American movies, I can't. So another thing is, I don't use a lot of slang. It slips in a little bit here and there. And the English I speak is very much real English. Don't get me wrong. But if you watch an American movie, they're going to use a lot of slang. They're going to swear a little bit. They're going to use bad words, and I don't use any swear words or bad words in my videos. And they're going to be talking about things that you might not be familiar with. So maybe you're watching a movie about the police department, and there are a whole lot of vocabulary words that you might not know, Lolly. So it depends on the movie, really does. Yasan, oh good. In movies, when they say, he saved my ass, what does this mean? Okay, so first of all, let's all be clear. I like to use the word butt, B-U-T-T, instead of ass. But it's your derriere, or your behind, is called your ass. I'm not going to stand up. But when we say someone saved your ass, it's slang for one. It's casual English, so it wouldn't be English you would use at work. But let's say, for instance, I was broke and I needed to repay a debt. If you watched the video yesterday, you'll understand this. And my brother gave me money to repay the debt. I could say, oh, he saved my ass. Or Bob the Canadian would say, he saved my butt. So, but it's when someone helps you out of a bad situation. So Lolly says, got it, thanks. Awesome. Daniel Tineo, hello. Hi, Daniel. Welcome to the live stream. Vamos to Anvita says, I understand, but if you're in a place, oh, this is about going and coming, different than your home and you're going to another place, do I say I'm coming or I'm going? So if I call my brother and he says, can you come over? I would say, I'm coming right now. And then when I hang up, I would go to my brother's. I hope that, I think I just made it sound more confusing. Let's read Vamos's comments. And I have to say I'm coming. You would definitely, in that situation, Vamos, you would say I'm coming. Definitely, yes. You would say, yep, I'm at home right now. I'm coming over, or I'm coming right now. If you were at home though, and you were leaving, if I was leaving, I would tell my wife, I'm going to my brother's place right now. Sekeng Tang says, hello, teacher. How are you today? I'm glad you're live chat. It's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for joining, Sekeng. That's awesome. And Homira says, can you introduce me to a book that I can buy and learn English at home, please? So it really depends on your level, Homira. So if you're a beginner, I recommend a series of books from DK. And maybe I'll let's do this. In the comments below, who was that? Hamira, right? Hamira, can you ask that question in the comments? And then I will do some research tomorrow and I'll find a list of books for beginners, for intermediate, and for advanced English learners. And then I'll put that in as a reply to the comment. So maybe that will work better. Abdallah says, I heard that slang a lot, but I didn't know what it meant. Well, I'm glad I could help you, Abdallah. Akraf says, please, I live in Florida and I want to improve my English. Well, if you live in Florida, first of all, don't speak too much Spanish. There's a lot of people who speak Spanish in Florida. Find English speakers and get them to help you a little bit. The other thing you can do is, Akraf, is if you are already in the United States, you should be able to find night classes. So if you're working during the day, you should be able to go to adult classes at night. I'm just putting my gloves on if you're wondering what I'm doing. Akraf, you should be able to find adult English language classes. They might even be free to help recent immigrants or refugees. So I would look for that in Florida. If you ask that question in the comments as well. I will try to find some information. Mahua says, I live in Taiwan. Have you been to Taiwan? No, but I really hope to go someday. Sinara asks, do you speak Portuguese? No. Victor says, what does infer mean and how could I use it? So when you infer, it means you know two things about a situation, and because of those two things, you can infer the third thing. So I might know that because someone has a cat and I've seen their cat, I can infer that they probably have cat food in their house. So it's kind of like guessing, Victor, a little bit. Hello, Tao from China. Awesome that you're here. Amin says, is the market near to where you live or do you go to the city to buy groceries? We actually, Amin, we go to a local town to buy our groceries. It's the same town that I work in. And it's the town, if you look down below, if you want to send me a postcard, it's the town of Smithville, Ontario. They have a small grocery store. Zaza says, Bob, you wouldn't believe how huge amount of English learning material I've picked up and tried. I'm really obsessed with this language. Zaza, that's awesome. But unfortunately, I still couldn't find a suitable method of learning phrasal verbs more easily. Would you suggest any? For phrasal verbs, I just suggest you watch a lot of YouTube videos. Just do a search for English phrasal verbs. I've done a few videos. I think other people have done better videos than me, but Zaza, I would do that. Akraf says, thank you very much. Andrew says, sir, how can I improve my spoken English? You have to find someone to speak English to. You can talk out loud to yourself, and I do recommend that. You can record yourself and then listen to it later. I recommend that. But above all, you really need to find someone to talk to. And I mentioned it earlier, there's a link below. There's a website called italki. There's a website called Preply. If you look in my description, you can find it. Those will help you a little bit. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it says, is this your normal talking speed? Can you show us what the normal one? Thanks. So I've done this in the other live streams a few times. This is very close to my normal talking speed, but let me think of a couple of sentences. Maybe I'll just repeat that. I'm going to go into full speed mode now, okay? So this is how Bob the Canadian normally talks. If I was having a conversation with someone, I would probably talk really, really quickly. I would probably say things like, I don't like doing this. I don't like having conversations. I don't like having arguments. It's not a lot faster, but again, I think my normal, this is my slowed down speed again. I think my normal speed is already a bit slower because I have little kids and because I'm a teacher. I think I've trained myself to talk a little more slowly. Homira says, I'm 50 years old and intermediate. Yeah, you're probably, have you studied English for a while, Homira? So Kang Tang says, are you here very cold? Oh, is it, so you're asking, is it cold here? Jen, what's the temp right now? Jen, my wife Jen, thinks it's about 4 degrees Celsius right now. It probably is. Around 4 degrees Celsius is when I put my gloves on. And just so you know, these aren't holes. These are newer gloves. It's so that I can use my finger on the screen. That's what that's for. In the one video, someone asked why my gloves had holes in it. So Andrew NY says, great, sir. Thank you very much. Amin says, I would love it if you could be my English, if you could have been my English teacher when I was in high school. Well, I think I'm a little more boring in the classroom than I am on video. Gung Lao says, about the book, remind me that a native speaker recommended me a book called Christmas Carol recently. Probably be a good book, Gung Lao, to read around Christmas time. You would probably learn a lot of Christmas vocabulary. Again, I think Hamira's going to leave me a question in the comments and I'll find some books. Uu says, I'm watching in Taiwan right now. When you explain about a word or you teach, I can understand it. It's nice for my English language. Thanks very much. No problem, Uu. And Renata is here. Hello, Renata. Good evening, Renata. I hope things are nice in Brazil right now. Vamos says, thank you very much. By the way, I found an app that is called Tandem. It's really useful and works for different languages. I'll have to look at that, Vamos. I haven't looked at, since I practiced my French a few years ago, I have not really looked at newer language apps that have come out. So I'll have to look at that. Tandem is what you said it was called. And Weta says, I think that your family is proud of you and I wish you success. Jen, are you proud of me? Jen's walking by right now. Hey, Jen, are you proud of me? She says she's very proud of me. So, but I don't know. I just a guy that sits out on a picnic table on a Saturday night. I don't know how exciting that is. So Z or Zed says, disappeared. Let me click it for a sec. I just can't get all the words they say in movies, even if I check the subtitles. Like they said before, I listen a lot of times, but I can only listen before. So I think what you're saying there, Z, is you're watching a movie, you have the subtitles on, which is good for a beginner or intermediate learner. But if there's things you don't understand, you should definitely listen to it again. When I watch movies in French, I like watching them on my computer because I can rewind with the arrow keys on the keyboard. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can do a quick rewind. I would try that and definitely look stuff up. Renata says, are there any Renatas in Canada? Actually, my wife years ago had a friend called Renata. We called her Rennie, but I think her name was actually Renata. Red Brandy Cherry says, the village where you live in looks very beautiful, quite clean and comfortable. Yeah, you know, Canada is pretty clean, but when the snow melts on the sides of the roads in the ditches, there's a lot of garbage. And then we all go out in the spring and we clean up the garbage from all the ditches because it can get pretty messy. Lolly says, for a person who learns English every day, 3 hours a day, how long does it take to speak fluently? So, Lolly, it depends on how good your brain is at learning a language. But I would say that if you're doing 3 hours a day, and if you're reading, writing, speaking to a native speaker, and listening, if you're doing all four of those things every day, and if you are actively expanding and learning new vocabulary, you will probably be functionally literate or functionally fluent in about a year. That would be pretty fast. They say that even when you live in a country, it can take you between 2 and 4 years to be fluent and up to 7 years to be fully fluent. That means you lose your native accent a little bit. So it does take time. You can't learn a language in a day. It doesn't work that way. Elias says, hi Bob, greetings from Guatemala. Excellent. Hello, Elias. Abdallah says, I found you a good teacher. If I had known you, I would have literally followed you earlier. Thanks, Abdallah. Go tell all your friends. That's what I always tell people. Good morning from Taiwan. Hope you have a wonderful weekend with your family. And thank you so much, Bob, for your videos. No problem. Alonzo says, hello, Bob. I mind at Alonzo from, so Alonzo is from Mexico. Excellent. Were you, I think you were here last week, Alonzo. Andrew says, very nice. I enjoy your talk and your humor. I'm mostly laughing at myself, Andrew. Renata says, I'd like to know the ACRAF. I like your pronunciation. It's perfect. Clive, how to help a little girl to learn English? They are always not interested and hate to learn English. Oh, you're asking how to motivate children to learn. That's really hard, Clive. I don't know. We tell our children they have to take piano lessons, like, the piano, until they are age 13. And for some of our children, that was easy. And for one of our children right now, not so easy. I don't have any good advice for how to motivate a child to learn. You can buy them candy, but that only lasts a little while. That's not a long-term solution. But yeah, I think it's about scheduling, Clive. Like if you can find a way to build it into your daughter's schedule, where it just seems normal to learn every day. Akraf says, I missed it. I spent 2 years in Florida, but my English is, and then it kind of ends there. 2 years, see, you can live somewhere where everyone speaks English, But if you don't go out every day and force yourself to practice that English, you're not going to learn as quickly as you want to. You really need to get out there. Do you know Mark, the other YouTuber from Mad English? He's also a Canuck, and he pronounces about. Yeah, so that's how we say about. I don't know Mark, but I would really like to talk to him. He lives in Calgary. He actually lives almost, it's got to be thousands of kilometers away from me. So if I am able to someday, I should contact Mark and we should talk. But Mad English TV is a great channel. It's amazing the grass grows so great still in the cold weather. Grass actually loves cold weather. It grows best in April and May here. When it gets really hot later in the summer, it won't grow so good. Lolly says, thanks, I am motivated, but I don't have anybody to speak with. Well, yeah, that's a tough one. That's really a tough one. Z says, I've been learning English over 2 years and I indeed made some progress. Excellent. Zaza says, your accent is a little bit different from American accent. Is that so? Yeah. So Canadian accents. So I went to university in the state of Michigan. I actually went to the United States for university. Canadians and Americans can speak English, no problem. But there are certain words that Canadians say differently. Our English as Canadians is very flat. We don't have a strong accent. It's a very neutral tone if compared to a British accent or an American accent. But in Michigan, they would say things like, when they said my name's Bob, but they would say Bab. They would say, hey, Bab. And it just sounded funny in Michigan. And then they would say things like, I can't say it right, but when we say about, we say it a certain way. And Canadians tend to say a at the end of their sentences a lot. Vamos says, what does Canuck mean? So that's how we would say that. It's the way to call, is it a way to call people from, so it's a nickname, Vamos. So I'm Canadian, but we also use the word Canuck to refer to people from Canada. So you could say it's a nickname for Canadians. So I could be Bob the Canuck or Bob the Canadian. I prefer Bob the Canadian. I think it sounds better. Abdallah says, what does fluent mean exactly? To be able to speak clearly, naturally, without pauses or to understand every single word. I'm not sure if you're familiar with I think it's a CEFR. There's levels of language like A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So I am a B2 French speaker. I went to Alliance Française and I took a test to say that I have a B2 level of fluency in French. And I think you can do the same things in English. If you take your TOEFL or your IEL, your IELTS, there's different tests that will tell you. Renata says, your channel is worth achieving 1 million subscribers. Sure, tell everybody in the world to subscribe to me. That would be great. Akraf says, yes, I don't understand something, strong accent. The accent does get in the way sometimes, doesn't it? It can be the speed that someone is speaking, but also someone's accent can prevent you or stop you from actually understanding them. So David Bravo says, hola, and someone from whose name I can't pronounce says, hello, Bob. So that's awesome. The sun's going down. I'm going to turn the camera around for a sec just so you can see. Let's do a fast turn. So you can see behind me, the sun is just starting to go down. It's not dark here yet, but you can see up there. I don't know where to point. Over there, the sun is just going down over the horizon. So that's kind of cool. I'm just going to sit. You can see it on my face a little bit. I have a little bit of a glow right now. Your accent is very good. Thank you. And then Amine says, je pense votre niveau de français est excellent. I think my knowledge of French is excellent. It's not bad. C'est pas mal. It's not bad. Let's see here. I got it. I'm a B2 German speaker. That's cool, Abdallah. And then Andrew says, your accent is a little bit American, it sounds like. Yeah, it's going to be more American than British, Andrew, for sure. My accent is certainly has more of an American flavor to it. And then Akraf says, I started with B classes. Hamira says, I enjoy your learning and approximately. Oh, so Hamira says she enjoys learning from me. And approximately, she understands approximately what I'm saying, or most of what I'm saying. Red Brandy says, do foxes or wild animals live there? I'm curious. There are some. We don't see them a lot. In fact, if I turn around here, so way in the distance is what we would call a forest or a woods. Not these trees, but like way over there. You can see on the horizon, there's lots of trees. There's actually really big forest over there, and there are a lot of animals that live in there. Usually small animals, though, nothing really big. He says, I always talk to myself in English. Some people think I have a mental problem. Yeah, when you walk around talking to yourself, people can sometimes find that a little strange. Just a sec, folks. I'm gonna just move this a little bit. I'm a little bit in the sun right now, so I'm just gonna step over where I'm out of it a little bit. We'll move this way. I don't know if it's possible to get out of the sun right now. Anyways, there we go. That'll work. It is a beautiful sunset, Abdallah. Renata says C2 in English, B1 in Spanish. That's excellent. Nathan says greetings from Taiwan. Lolly says, je trouve que votre accent est excellent en français. Merci beaucoup, Lolly. Andrew says, sir, you draw us in a small world. Yes, you know, this is one of my favorite things about doing this is I'm not someone who at this point in my life has traveled a lot. I don't get to visit other places in the world very often. As I've told you, I work, I have a full-time job, I have 5 children, my wife and I both work really hard to take care of them. So I don't get to travel a lot, but through this YouTube channel, I get to meet all kinds of people, and it's really fun. I really, really like it. So I'm glad that you guys keep coming to hang out with me every once in a while. Sorry, I keep moving the camera here. Want to make sure I'm in a good spot for the Wi-Fi. Yesterday I saw a raccoon. Hamira, we have raccoons here. Definitely we have raccoons. I saw a raccoon just a few days ago. Alonzo says, cute landscape. Yeah, it is really nice out here. Trying to see what time it is, people. I told my kids that I needed to use the internet until 8 o'clock. Oh, it's 10 after 8. Oops, I went a little overtime, but we can go for a few more minutes. Tiana says, I'm a native speaker from Australia. Very cool, Tiana. Thank you so much for joining. Are you a native Australian? Like you speak Australian English? Is that what you're saying? Just let me know. Ooh says a beautiful country. If one day you decide to visit Morocco, you are welcome. I think someday, this is what I think. If I go around the world someday, I think I will have a lot of people who will let me visit them. I think I could travel around the world for very little money. So, Hassan, Bob, would you please show us your plants? My dad has a big farm. He grows tomatoes, onions, and lots of vegetables. Well, let's go and have a look. You're going to kind of be surprised because the plants aren't very big. So, I know this looks kind of funny, but it's too cold here right now to have all of our plants outside at night. So we have all the little plants started in trays right now. So Jen has, these are Lysianthus. It's a flower. Someday we'll plant this in the field. It'll be a flower. So we have this covered wagon because tonight it might be really, really cold. And we don't want the plants to freeze. So there you go. You got an early sneak peek at the, I almost tripped, at the little wagon full of baby plants that we will be putting in the field. Let me see here. Yep, Australian English. Renata says, I'm struggling through Russian at the moment. Thank goodness I can understand it just fine. I've been studying English since 2006, and sometimes I talk to myself in English too. Yes. Have you ever shown that for us? Actually, there's a video. If you go through way back to last fall in my channel, there is a video in the forest. Australian English from Tiana. We're not crazy, just passionate. Yes. Doreen, what's the difference between meeting, conference, and symposium? So a meeting can be like 2 people or 3 people or 20 people. A conference is when there's like probably like 100 people all going to different meetings. And a symposium is where it's a bunch of people who sit and listen to one person talk. So you'll have to look those up, Doreen, to get a better description. But that's my early attempt. Abdallah says, how many languages do you speak except for, I speak English and I speak French, and I tried to learn Chinese once just for a little bit, but it was really hard for me to make the sounds. Vamos says, that's so cute. Andrew says, very nice, I appreciate it, what you are doing. Akraf says, yes, come to Disney, I'll give you a ticket to enjoy the park. Yeah. Busakorn said, hello Busakorn. Would you tell me what fine whatever means? So this is something we say at the end of an argument, and it's not a nice thing to say. So if someone says, fine whatever, it just means that they're not ending the argument nicely. They're just kind of saying, you win, but they're saying it in a really mean way, I guess. That's how I would describe it. Yes, this wagon right now, because it's April, is to keep the plants warm at night. And it does actually let light in during the day. So we open the sides up during the day so the little plants can grow. But the plants need to be outside a little bit right now so that they can start to harden off, we call it. Davis. Hi, Bob. Davis from Tanzania. Please make a video about the difference between on time and in time. It's confusing me a lot. Yes, I will do that. Lolly says, wonderful baby plants, wonderful plants. You can study Spanish someday, David, maybe. Renata says, your area seems to be adorable, nice plants. Zaza says, would you agree with Professor Higgins, my Fair Lady, that in America they haven't used it in years? He meant English, of course. Yeah, American English is a little bit strange sometimes. So I think what they're saying is that British English is the best. Let me see here. Yasan says, I will try to show my dad. He is open-minded. He really loved your farm and your coats. By the way, the way we plant is so different. Yeah, so this is just for flowers, Yasan. We do it, definitely do it a different way for other crops. David says, cities that speak Spanish. No, there are Spanish speakers in Canada, but not a lot. Just a sec, I gotta grab my cup of water. I'm gonna run to the picnic table. Oh. It's not there. Where did I put my cup of water? I think I put it right behind me here. Yes, I found it finally. We just have a lot of, hi from Mexico, you are great. A lot of Chinese audience in your live chat right now. Yeah, possibly. I think everyone's just waking up in China. Do you have a greenhouse? We did have a greenhouse, but the wind blew it over a few years ago. It got all mushed. I'll put a picture on sometime. I really appreciate you and I admire your valuable advice. Thank Wida. And Renata says, how many kids do you have? 5. I have 5, Renata. It's a little crazy sometimes. 5 kids is a lot of kids, but it's lots of fun. Do I speak Arabic? No, but I have a few students who do. And what I'll tell you, Yasan, is students who speak Arabic and then learn to speak French have very, very good French pronunciation. Some of the sounds that you make when you're speaking Arabic are the same sound you need to speak French. And they have a beautiful you can roll R's, and you can do a lot of sounds in Arabic that you need to be able to do in French that when I speak French, I'm not able to do. So that's really cool. Any more questions, folks? I can't believe there's 70 people watching. That's a lot of people. I wasn't expecting 70 people tonight. Lots of fun, but it's been almost 50 minutes. I like your cup. This is actually a mason jar, so you can put a lid on it. I don't have a lid on it right now. And it says County Fair. So in the fall, we have fairs in Canada, and there's a rooster or a chicken. And then it says drinking jar. So we call it a mason jar, but it has a handle on it. Let's see here. Oh, I flipped you guys again, didn't I? Sorry about that. Ismail says, hi teacher, one question. The temperature is 4 right now. What about winter? So winter's definitely over. It's no longer winter here, but it is still a little bit cold at night. So that's what we have to watch out for. Dragon says, hi Bob, I like your video. Thank you. Have a good day. You too, Dragon. Zaza says, do you travel? Not a lot, Zaza. The last trip I made was in 2007. I went to South Africa. It was a long time ago. Ruben says, hey Bob, Ruben's from Brazil here. Love your channel and your video style. Big thanks for taking the time to do this. Wonderful work you're doing here. Thank you so much. Subshell gives me a smiley face. And Wida says, when we ask a question... And then I'm not sure, Wida, I'm not sure you finished asking your question there. Anyways, should we wrap this up? By wrap it up means, should I end the live stream? Should this be it? Should I say bye to everybody? I think I should. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, there's a subscribe button down there. You should click it. Give me a thumbs up. There's a little spot down there to click the thumbs up. Again, for those of you that are looking to have a native speaker to talk to, check the description out. Renata says, you're really charismatic. I think I'm just silly. I'm silly and goofy. Those are 2 words. I think only silly people like standing in their yard talking to their phone at 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday. But anyways, Andrew says, sir, can you please tell us a New York accent? I'm not sure how to do it. Water, I would say this is just a cup or a glass, red brandy. So it says drinking jar, but it would actually just be a cup or a glass. Yes. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for coming to this live stream. I will, I think, pretty sure do one next Saturday night again. Remember, new video Tuesday, and the live stream on Friday will be about sports. And next week's live stream on Saturday night, maybe I'll just plan to do a full hour again, since there were 73 people watching. That's a lot. So thank you. I hope that you have a good Saturday night. I hope that you are having a good Sunday, if it's Sunday where you are. I wish all of you a really, really, really good weekend. And I think we should wrap this up. And someone says, merci, c'était un plaisir. Merci, Lali aussi. Iwamoto says thank you. Andrew says thank you. All of you are saying thank you, and that's awesome. I'm going to push this red button right now. That's going to end the live stream. And then I can go inside and warm up, because it's getting a little chilly out here. Oh, I didn't push it right.